Well, let's see the audio because I know that wasn't the. Oh, okay. So I think everything works. Well, welcome to Live with Ria. I have to redo the intro music because, in light of all the recent events, and I could probably talk about some of it. So, welcome to Sunday and welcome to Live with Ria. The funny thing is, I'm actually going to Connecticut tomorrow. I'm not going to Newington. I'm going to Groton to visit my brother who is at the naval base over there, and he lives in Gales Ferry, so he's nearby, and we're going to visit him for Easter. My mom's also there, and I found that also my newest uh, uh, nephew is there, so we're going to see the baby and my kids who are on Easter break. It's called Easter break in their school because they're in a parochial school, and we're going to visit there. So, just to piss off Bert a little bit, I think I reached a YouTube timeline where it says you could say curse words after 7 seconds. Just to piss off Bert a little bit, we're going to talk about stuff not related to tonight's video. So anyway, I didn't have any show on WRMI this week because I can you start by GD? You need some parts for a submarine? Oh, cool. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, but so anyway, no. But first of all, let me talk about what's been going on with me. I had a cold, so I couldn't do a radio show this week. But I'm the cold got better, so I can do this. I'm gonna have a radio show this week. I'm going to the National Association of Broadcasters conference next week, and I'm also going. Where am I going? In May, I have a little meeting with ARDC, and then after that comes Dayton Hamvention, and then in June, unfortunately, I am going to not do field day, but I'm going to Ham Radio Friedrichshafen in Germany, and because of that, I'm going to be how should I put it? I'm going to be out of the country. I might operate remote to my station, but I'd rather meet all my European ham friends who I've been threatening to meet for a long time. And there comes a yellow $sign gone from my YouTube. So anyway, so that's the long and short of it. I did leave the ARRL. I mean, let's be honest. There is a lot that there is there is a lot that went on previously that I just got fed up with the whole thing. But I'm not going to Visalia, Joe. I'm sorry, but I just couldn't deal with it anymore. And it's one thing when you're accused by the people on the inside, but I had so much hate from people on the outside who actually bought the stupid story that the ARRL had, where they were saying, well, you didn't have you started writing the book before you told us. I mean, that's bullshit, So now you guys are seeing everything and a lot of other things, and you know what? Those who are with me all the time, I know who you are, and I love you guys. And those who are just there to spite and throw stones at me, you know what? I hope you get what's coming to you. So anyway, I did get an offer from ARDC, who graciously I've been talking with them for a long time, and I actually got an offer to serve on their board, and I was very thrilled, and I was very, very excited that I could go on. Yes, Jesse, I actually left the ARRL, and I'm very excited working with some really, 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 really. I mean, these are absolute luminaries in the world of open source and also foundations of the internet, and These people are not what you call traditional hams, and they're my kind of people, you know. So anyway, I should spend another show talking about them. But anyway, so we're going to talk about Mac ham radio tonight, right? Jesse, it's not April Fool's. I left the ARRL. I resigned on March 31st, 2023. So I'm no longer with the ARRL. I'm no longer going to be the ARRL lady. I'm no longer going to be people's ARRL punching bag. You know, you could save your anger for David Minster and his crew, like they rightfully deserve. Um, Eric, I'm going to write all the books in the world, baby. Okay? I'm telling you, I'm writing stuff. But anyway, it's not about books. I'm going to be doing good in the world. And yes, James, ARDC is very important. So tonight we're going to talk about Mac ham radio. And I think I pissed off Bert enough that Bert's going to write an angry comment that how I spend, how many minutes? I spent 7 minutes talking about stuff not related to tonight's stream. So anyway, tonight we're going to talk about ham radio, and you know, my experience with Mac has been kind of an interesting one. You'd think that I've been in Mac for a long time, but that's not really the case. I mean, for most of my life, I've actually been using Linux, and for one time, I was exclusively Linux. The only time I really picked up Windows PCs was when work gave them to me, and I had to use Windows PC, but most of the time I've been using Linux. I've been using Linux since 1994. I had some Windows operating systems like Windows 95, but you know, I kind of got stuck with Linux because I like Linux, and I had a bunch of different things, and I basically spent my whole career in Linux, which is yeah, and I will definitely be doing another thing with Linux. So I got on the Mac platform in 2011, believe it or not. And of course, not the Mac Classic platform, but the Next Step platform, which became Mac OS when Steve Jobs gloriously returned to Apple, the late, great Steve Jobs. And I've had about 5 or 6 Macs since then, and I began to delve into ham radio. And one thing I found out is that ham radio on the Mac is not really that straightforward. Especially since I'm using Flex Radio, and Flex Radio kind of makes things complicated because their software is on Windows. You see, if you use something like an ICOM or another traditional radio, which has all the guts inside the radio, and then you have serial port control, and you have all sorts of little things inside the radio itself, and all the frequency and sound card, so it's easier that way. But when you have to use the computer to control the transceiver, things get a little different. So anyway, without further ado, let me explain to you how this works. And I think my internet's kind of buffering, but yeah. So let me see. Is my internet okay? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. We've been having internet problems here. Um, but yeah, we've been having I had two minds about doing a stream tonight because of the internet problems, but you never know. Addie's gonna jump as emerges cola. So yeah, anyway. So all right, so I've had some interesting experiences with Mac. So the first thing I'll tell you is that the Flex stuff, and let me see if I could do a screen share. Let's see here. And I'm gonna do camera and ZVE10, and I want to do the. So the first things first is that let's see here, it's Smart SDR. Okay, so for Flex, generally I use the Smart SDR software, but for Mac OS, and Smart SDR software isn't really Smart SDR for isn't really Smart SDR. So I will do this here, right? So remember, you have to remember the Smart SDR software on Windows is developed by Flex Radio, but this is Smart SDR for Mac, okay? And this is where it's kind of interesting because this was originally developed as an iOS application by a German radio amateur, Markus Roskosch, DL8 MRE, and he is he's brilliant. He's pretty brilliant, I would say. But he developed originally for iOS, and then later on went added for the Mac world. Now these apps are not cheap, right? They're a little expensive. So yeah, you know, it's buffering. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. All right. We'll fight through it, and if it doesn't work out, we'll try another night. But yeah. So this is the software I use, and you can see it's a pretty interesting piece of kit. And this one actually here, you know, it's one of the available Mac software. The other one I use is XSDR 6000, and XSDR 6000 kind of is a little experimental. This is a full-on commercial project. Like I said, it's not cheap. It's about $150, I think, for this now. I think he raised the price. Marcus raised the price of this Smart SDR for Mac OS, and you have to buy it from the App Store. So, you know, once you buy that, you get a good little array of things. Now, the software itself is an all-in-one, right? So you have the SDR control here. Let me bring it back up here. You have the SDR control here, and you can actually just, you know, you can just operate the radio like that. I generally have, I either operate this when I'm directly at the radio, or if I am remote, and I do a lot of remote operation because a lot of times I'm not home. I'm not home right now. And, you know, you would have the ability to operate remotely once you have good internet, which I probably don't have tonight. But in this, you can actually also operate the FT8, and I will show you here in a moment. Let's see here. So if you are in the funny transmission mode, okay, FT8, yeah, there's this guy called, what's his name? His name escapes me. SB5DKL, Status from Greece, from Dodecanese Island. He is a strong critic of FT8, and he calls FT8 funny transmission mode. So you see here, you can have the FT8 built in, right? And let's say I want to go on to 40 meters, okay? And I press receive, and it starts to receive, and you'll probably see stuff start to come up here, and you could start to transmit as well too. But you see the time moves on here, and it's kind of hard to show more than one window. Starts to decode. It is really kind of, see, yeah, you see? Yeah, you see a bunch of call signs came up. This thing spit out a whole bunch of call signs here. And this experience is actually good if you want basic FT8. The problem is that it doesn't do a little bit, it doesn't do some of the de-expedition modes like Fox and Hound and such like that. So you see here all the FT8 stuff is here, but you can't really do Fox and Hound with this. So Marcus kind of has a solution for that. I can use the FT8, the traditional WSJTX software, but because it's Mac, you don't have the same kind of sound card devices that Windows had. So, you know, let's see here. Yeah, you don't have the same issues where you don't have the same sound card drivers, right? So what you do is you run a little software called Loopback, and I'll show you the Loopback config here. So you have to run this software called Loopback, and Marcus has been so kind. He actually worked with the developer of Loopback, and let me see what I'll show you here. Yeah, the developer of Loopback actually gave a little discount for Smart SDR for Mac users, and you can see it here. Now, this software actually allows you to pipe audio in between applications, and this is how you get the software for the Smart SDR software to now push audio out to the WSJTX, because otherwise it really can't, right? You really cannot have WSJTX getting audio from Smart SDR because it just doesn't work. It doesn't have the Windows driver underlying infrastructure. So you have to set up in Loopback first, and then after you set up in Loopback, then you can then go in Smart SDR. You run the DAX application in Smart SDR, and then you could run it there. Now, of course, if you have a traditional transceiver like an ICOM 7300 or something like that, you don't have to worry about this. I mean, you're in normal land, right? You're not really bothering with this, really, But this is me with Flex, what I have to deal with. Okay, all well and good. Other issues on Mac. So when I'm running the Smart SDR software, the WSJTX, I have to set up the shared memory configuration, because without that, Smart SDR will crash. And once I got that, I was able to actually work it well, and it works well. So these are some of the little idiosyncrasies in Macs. So let's see, what about GQRX? Let's see here. I don't use GQRX on the Mac. So, I can't really tell you about that, sorry. I don't even think I have a compatible SDR. I don't really run RTLs anymore. I run the Flex, and I run, other little things here. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so anyway, so that's that. And, that's kind of like right out the gate what you do. But, there's a number of other little features in Smart SDR for Mac OS that kind of make it nice and unique here. And I'll show you here. You have this here. Let's see. Right. You have in his features, in his tools, you have the DX cluster, you have PSK reporter, you have voice macros, recordings, you have a full-featured logbook. Okay, so you can actually see my logbook inside of Smart SDR for Mac OS. You can actually see, and I'll show you here. Okay. The Smart SDR logbook, right? So you have a full-featured logbook in the application. Like I said, it's an all-in-one application, and Marcus did a really, a nice job on it. You can see I have a whole bunch of Sable Island here. You can see I have these jokers, G0EVY. There, it's a term of endearment. I like talking with them. You have a whole bunch of them there, and I put side here. You see? Yeah. Let's see here. Michael Hamilton said, "I want a transceiver transmit." Yeah. Yeah, you know what? You can have your ancient, old days stuff. I hear some people don't like electricity, so they use candles at home. So yeah. But yeah, no, I like computers and radio. I think computers make the radio experience so much better. That's my preference, of course. You're more than welcome to yours. All right. But yeah. So okay. So in terms of other software I use on the Mac, I actually use, there's a different logging program. So first of all, in one of my earlier live streams about logging software, I actually showed you guys where I use Log4OM for my general purpose logging, and then I use N1MM Logger for contest logging. So I actually started to experiment around with some of these logging software, and I've had let's see here. So for general logging, I've tried to go with a few of them, experiment with a few of them. They're the paid packages. There is the MacLogger DX, and MacLogger DX is kind of a, you know, it's a really well written piece of software. It costs a lot of money, and I chose not to buy it. But if it's good, then you can. If you want to spend the money, then that's up to you. Okay. So this is generally, a lot of hams use it, and they like it because it has a lot of integration with various things. The same developer, he has different software for satellite tracking. He has like one called Mac Doppler, and Mac Doppler is great. Mac Doppler, it basically will run your whole satellite station, and you could run a whole ISS pass and get the Doppler shift and everything in there. It is absolutely great. I really like it. But I don't run the MacLogger DX myself. Okay, I just I run it myself. So there is a lot of open source software for Mac actually, and pretty much, and since Mac is based on BSD Unix, it could pretty much run any, a lot of open source packages. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Right. Okay. Well, Michael, you know what I'm gonna do here? Since you're not being nice. Okay. Sorry. I have zero tolerance for trolls. But anyway, so yeah, yeah, hi Indy. Yeah, anyway, so all right, so let's see here. So MacLogger DX is, we talked about MacLogger DX, we talked about um, the other software. By the way, the developer of MacLogger DX, Don, he also creates a smart SDR, Flex SDR package called Dog Park SDR, and that's the name of his company, Dog Park Software. So he runs that, and that is a pretty nice thing here. So let's see here. Oh, you see all my stuff here. Okay. Whoops. Right. Yeah. Right. So MacLogger DX is one here, and you can do that. Okay. Let's see here. Right. So I'm going to talk about Skookum next. Okay. So Skookum is one I kind of discovered, when I was looking for one for contesting. I kind of got encouraged by some of these youth in contesting to play in their little, phone. They used to have a contest called the Phone Fray, and I think they started calling it something else. And then, they started to just like, I don't know, they have their contests I think it's every Monday or something, So anyway, all right. Let's see here. Yeah, yeah. So I think Don writes a good package. It's just yeah. He writes a good package. So Skookum Logger is another one that I use here, and you could see it here. Skookum Logger, by K1GQ, and some Canadians laugh at the name. I guess that's a Canadian joke. I don't know. I'm not Canadian, but so Skookum Locker is a contest login program. I know I usually recommend to people, if you're doing logging, you want to have a separate contest logger versus contest support like N1MM does, but it has a good number of them. Okay, so Skookum Logger. Okay, come on, Skookum Logger. I'm not seeing it here. Windows Server. Okay. I would want to show you this, but where is it? General logging. Okay. And let's see here. General logging. All right, yeah, there we go. Okay. So I've used this for like QSO parties and all sorts of stuff. I've used it for, like special events and all sorts of different things here. It basically plays like N1MM logger. It plays like the other contest logging software. It's really not that different, but it it allows you to play on the Mac, and I found that it actually comes up pretty decent here. Where's my YouTube here? Yeah. Yeah, and it's pretty simplistic. It's not too complicated. And you can actually have it interface with your transceiver here. And, and it's dark mode. I've had it set up here. You see, it even reads the frequency from my software. So if I change, let's see, I change here to like 14. Let's choose a nice frequency. Okay, 7200. You see, it actually goes there. Not a problem, right? And it has my two VFOs. I want to log something. Let's say I want to log W1AW. It picks up the multiplier and everything. Let's say I want a new log. I could go into new log here. I could select a contest. Let's say I go, what contest we had? We had the Japan International DX Contest SSB outside Japan. Okay. And yeah, I could set this up and play contests any way I wanted to. Okay. Right. So let's see here. My experience with ROMlog NG actually is pretty good. I've used ROMlog NG since I've had my old Intel Mac, like my really old 2011 Intel Mac, right? And let's see here, by DL2 RUM. So I've used the old ROMlog and I've used ROMlog NG, right? And ROMlog NG is pretty sweet. So let me just bring it up here. ROMlog NG. Okay. And here you can actually, you have a full featured logbook here. So if I open a new logbook, I can open a new logbook called Ria's logbook. And I set up here, and then, I do W1AW. It brings up the call sign here. You can set up your frequency, 14.313. See, 14.313. Okay. And, SSB, 14. Let's see here now. 14.313. Okay. 859. ARRL. Connecticut. Save QSO. See? And I got it right there. Right? Okay. So, yeah, well, I kind of was laughing when I said that. I was joking. 7200 isn't a nice frequency. Well, the 7200 is the troll frequency. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, they actually did update ROMlog, and All right. So that's another one I use here, and it actually has quite a number of different little features here. And you can use iCloud. You can import an ADIF file, and I might have one here. Let's see here now. Smart SDR. Date added. Let's see here. Kind. JPEG. It's supposed to be ADIF here. There we go. Okay, let's say I import this log from Smart SDR for iOS. 123 QSOs. Excuse me. And then, right, Okay. And let's see here. Okay, window, main logging, right? So yeah, so you have your whole logbook here. You can put that in. Okay, what else? So on the Mac here, also, sometimes you might just need to run a Windows application. In my case, though, since I've actually switched to a Apple Silicon Mac, I'm actually not able to do as I did before, which is I used to dual boot into Windows and run my Windows software. So you have to use parallels now for that. I kind of don't like that idea. So my next best solution was I got an Evolve 3 Maestro, which I talked about, and then I use that for when I need Windows. But it is what it is. In terms of like other things, you can't do on a Mac. What I found is that a lot of ham programs are very simple, old things written in like really obscure languages. Like one of them actually was like CW Skimmer was written in either Turbo Pascal or something, or Delphi. I think it was written in Borland Delphi. And you can't really run that on a Mac. You can run that on a PC, right? And Alex V3NEA, he's very skilled, but the kind of platform he used to write his software is not really, usual with people. So I just have to bite the bullet and run that in Windows. One of the things I like about the Mac is that it is a Unix desktop, so you find that there are certain programs that you can run on the Mac that you don't really find in Windows. Like for example, and let me bring this up here. Let's see here. So you see my Easter Chrome here. Sorry. Still getting over this cold. And you go QRQ. Right? QRQ. Fabian's famous high-speed CW training program. So apparently he made one for Windows, right? But he actually made one for, for Mac and Linux here. You can actually get, you go here and you download his program from, I guess, box.net. But yeah, you can run this. You used to be able to run this only in Linux and other open source, operating systems, and of course Mac, which is not fully open source, but you could run it and you do CW training. Now, another program that we used to use for CW training was Morse Runner, and Morse Runner was pretty much, like I mentioned, Windows only. So I don't know if you can actually run this on the on Mac. Well, apparently you can run it on. You can run it on a wineskin wrapper. Okay. I might have actually run this on my Intel Mac. So let's see here if it works. And it says this file can harm your computer. Okay, we're going to find out if it does. You're taking a risk right here. So let's see here. While we wait for that to download, because apparently he has the slowest server on planet Earth. Let's see what's going on here. Got new comments. Time for hot tea. Yeah. I have water. I'm not really a big tea fan. Mahi likes tea. I'm not a big tea person. She likes tea. Not me. I'm not a tea person. I hope everybody had a great Easter, because I kind of had one, but my Easters usually revolves around, church stuff. So I was there last night and today, and then we had the Easter Vigil, and I had a Karen come up to me and yell at me while ask me why I was live streaming in church. I'm like, because that's what I do for the church. Some people are just stupid. But no, she came up and proceeded to yell at me and say, oh no, I shouldn't be doing that. That how people should be coming here. I say, well, it's not up to you. So let's see here. 264 of 297 megabytes. Yeah, I kind of drink coffee sometimes. I just can't do it anymore. I don't know. It's okay. So it seems to be up and running here. Let me show it in Finder. Google Chrome would like to access when you're done. Morse runner. Ooh, okay. All right, let's see if it works in applications. So this is something here. If you have a Mac, you can actually get a lot of programs that written for Windows using Wine. Wine is not a Windows emulator, but it is a Windows emulator. It's not a Windows emulator. Okay, so let me see now. Morse runner. All right, wineskin. Cancel, and of course Mac gives me security error. Let me go up. I'll show you this in a minute here. Let me see here, because I need to go into my security preferences, privacy and security. Oh god. Open anyway. Okay. Fingerprint. Open. Okay. Yeah, the church does have a mission of reaching everyone, and you know, I look, I I believe in preaching the gospel to everybody. So, those who can and can't make it to church, I wish more people would come in, but if you can't, well, at least follow us on the live stream, because that's what it's there for. Okay, and it's not cheap either. I'll tell you that. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, where is the Morse runner doesn't seem to be running. Yeah. All right. Well, apparently it wouldn't work on this Mac, so I'm not gonna waste any time trying. Um, there is a OS 10 README. Yeah. Okay. All right. So anyway, forget that. All right. Other things I'm going to talk about here. Okay. Right. So yeah. So other things I talk about here. I mean, my whole use of the Mac is kind of like just for HF stuff. One of the things I got frustrated about was not being able to run too much of my programming software for like these DMR radios and Chinese radios and stuff. But apparently you could run Chirp, and there is a Chirp radio software. So Chirp can actually run on the Mac OS, I believe, and I haven't tried it with any of my Baofangs, and I actually got a few free Baofangs recently, because apparently Temu gave me some coupons, and I bought some Baofangs. True story. I wasn't actually going to work for Baofang, but it just kind of I just got some free radios from Temu. But I can't believe there are actually people who took that seriously. I mean, would I go and work? I mean, I kind of already work for one Chinese company, and I go work for another. I don't think they would like that. I don't think they would like that much. But hey, it is what it is. I'm happy to have. I actually threw out a poll there on how to improve Baofeng radios, and one of the things about Baofeng radios that a lot of people found is that get rid of the stupid siren, get rid of the proprietary cables, make it USB Type C, which I think is a legit gripe. But a lot of the Chinese radios actually cast. I don't know why, But you know, when I open Chirp, it kind of just bounced me from my own broadcast. So I don't know. Okay. Let's see here. Am I here? Okay. So how many software work for Apple? Um, the truth is not a lot, and it's a very kind of like closed ecosystem, which is why I tell people if you're buying a PC um, for strictly for ham use, don't bother with a Mac, just get Windows. But if you're in the Mac ecosystem, you probably have a few choices as well. Hey, Ham Radio Crash Course, how are you doing? Nice to see you here. So, yeah, so I don't have a lot of other stuff. I'm gonna kind of probably call it quits right now. I'm not feeling so good anyway. So what can I tell you? Peace and 73s. Maybe I'll talk about the other stuff sometime, and we'll see you around. All right, see you around. This is N2RJ. Peace out.